Good morning, everyone. Welcome to story time with, or it's not story time. Goodness, scribble time with Panda. Today's topic is Toy Story. Obviously, the first animated film done completely in CG. So we are gonna go and hop right to it. And hope you guys are enjoying your Thursday. And we'll have our sketch session right about now. Alright, so today we're going to be drawing Toy Story. I remember when it first came out, and it was quite a big deal back in the day. And it's amazing just to think back to all the advances that have been made since then. And so it's going to be it's strange to see the birth and the development of it for so many years. And when my son's watching some animated cartoon shows on TV, and a lot of them, like if they were made back in the day, would be they would seem groundbreaking if you just showed it to someone in the 90s. And so we've come a long ways from there, and it's pretty amazing just to see what kind of advances have been made, to the point where I remember watching The Good Dinosaur, and say what you want about the film, it's those scenes with the water are pretty amazing. Like I thought they were just throwing in live action footage, but it just goes to show just how much how advanced visual technology has come, and has yet to go. Right now the latest thing is VR, and we'll see what advances we can make. There's still a ton of visual information that needs to be conveyed with VR to make it feel like you're actually in the Matrix. But I'm sure we'll get there at some point. That would be a very scary time, because at that point we'll all be in the Matrix, and then we wouldn't really know reality from fiction. And would we want to subject ourselves to that reality? I don't know. There was speaking of which, there was I remember there was a fan theory going around with Pixar movies about how they are all connected, and that Cars is basically a post-apocalyptic world where humans don't exist anymore, and that so that's why the whole world is run by machines. I think that was the gist of it. Anyways, on that note, I've grown up on Pixar movies, and that was a big inspiration for why I'm in it right now. I have actually visited Pixar a long time ago, back in 2015, I think. Long time, or 2000, was it 2016? Probably 2015, I think, or 2016. I had taken a class from Louis Gonzalez, who is a storyboard artist there, who's worked on a number of films like Brave, Incredibles, Iron Giant, and that was definitely a very a kind of a pivotal moment for me in my art education, is to when I took his gestural drawing class. And so I got to learn a lot about, or it didn't seem very significant at the time, but later on, when I began to think about what am I trying to convey with a pose, or what am I trying to visually communicate, that basically put me on a path to better illustrate and convey what I'm trying to draw. So instead of drawing where you just hope it's good, you begin to ask yourself, what is it exactly that I'm trying to communicate to the viewer. And so that, to me, it was a really big part, a really big really big shift in my art. So and sometimes like it took a while too, like before I started recognizing it in my own work. So I would always recommend when you're trying to learn, just try to absorb and try to get your art. Try to learn some new things and wrestle with it, and eventually those things will come out in your work again. Sometimes days or maybe weeks or even years. You don't quite realize it yet when you're learning, because you're just wrestling with new concepts. But when they finally do click, that's kind of when things get pretty exciting. So just trying to draw Woody here. Woody's, it's all about him. That's the story, and he's the main thrust of the characters. I like all this Toy Story films. I do kind of feel like it was a nice wrap up at 3. 4 felt like a little cherry on top, so to speak. I don't mind it, so to speak, but I don't know if exactly if it felt like it concluded everything. I guess it concluded everything. It just felt like it was I don't know. I still think maybe I'm kind of wrestling with that, whether or not it's something that still needed to be made, I guess. But these days everything gets made. So I'm just putting him in his little suit here. I'll draw Buzz as well, so we'll get that going. But we also get some suggestions here in the chat from Hector. Hector's asking for Hector's asking for the Green Martians. He's also asking for what is it? Ducky and Bunny from Toy Story 4. And let's get these guys. So reach for this guy. My son's really taken to Woody and Buzz. And great characters, great stories. I mean, great personalities, great dynamic between the two of them. Which I felt kind of got lost in Toy Story 4 a little bit. And, the kind of... I guess they sort of made Woody or Buzz a little bit dumber again, because he'd had this whole thing where he, he's, listening to his inner voice, and he's basically listening to the intercom, even though I guess you could kind of say like he became a little bit more wiser, like after the second, like he just kind of became a bit more aware of who he was as a toy. But then, I mean, it was entertaining. It just felt like, I don't know, I like I said, like with all these, with Pixar, with Toy Story 4, it just felt a little bit like, I'm still wondering it, like I enjoyed it, but it's, I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know. I enjoyed it, but it's like, did I really need it? Would I, if I, and it's one of those things like when fans come across something, or when they're, when they have something that they love so much and then it's being repurposed again, it just, I guess it just feels like, why are things being made in general? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too cynical about it. So anyways, I'm going to go through and paint his little cow patches like that. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's okay to to keep retelling these stories, or do you like to keep seeing more adventures of Woody and Buzz, or do you feel like, sometimes it's great to just have the story just be told and leave it at that? What do you think? Leave a comment below. Leave a comment below so that people can argue with you for years later. But yeah, because I think about that too with my stuff. It's if I want to, like, I'm working on a book right now, but all these books are kind of self-contained. And I had a note one time from a friend. He's like, you could potentially like have a franchise or a world with these guys, and it's yeah, and that's cool. I think there's something for. It's great to have something that can like stretch the imagination and make you think, oh, what, and I think maybe if the value comes from just like, give you something for people to chew on, and maybe they would be the ones that would be creating those new adventures for them, whereas instead of me, like you look at the Star Wars, extended universe, you see like people making fan videos, and it's like really, you can get some pretty interesting stuff. But it's not George Lucas who's making that stuff. It's and I think you're kind of giving the fans like permission just to play, to play ball with it, but you don't have to be saddled with like, oh, is this actually canon or not? And I think the audience is a little bit more forgivable when you can allow them the room to play, and you can just put the essentials that you need to make your story say what it wants to say. I think my cowboy boot's getting a little bit away from me, so let me just start that over a little bit. Reach for the sky. I'm just good with them not making any more Toy Stories. I think that's what I'm saying. Although I would have liked to see Klaus win the Academy Award, just at least. Like, the award doesn't really, it's a prestigious award, but I would love to see, like, I mean, it's sort of a well-known award, but I don't know if it really means anything. But I think to see a small studio be able to get that recognition it deserves, and for the work that the tremendous amount of work that they did. I thought it should have been rewarded to them, but anyway, so there's our Woody Panda. Let me just try to shrink this down a little bit. So this is me cheating again. So I'm kind of reverting back from yesterday's session. So if you hadn't checked that out, that's I would really recommend just going and watching that video where I explain traditional materials. It was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. I'm in the process of uploading those right now, so they're kind of they haven't been made available yet, but I will. Just kind of going through and trying to lately in terms of the pandas, I'm trying to work through a story that I'm just trying to work on my writing right now, and it's kind of been it doesn't feel like I'm making as much progress because, with the drawing, you have something visual to look at. Whereas with a story, you're kind of like, is this making sense? Is this, it's just words, right? So okay, so that's my Woody. I kind of took a little time for that. Let's do I'll do Buzz later, but let's get to the alien. Let's see, or maybe the let's do the alien. We are eternally grateful. If you haven't seen these movies, I highly recommend them. It's kind of the storytelling that that Pixar's done with these characters has kind of been interesting. I've attended a Pixar workshop one time years ago, back in 2011, maybe 2011, where I think Matt Luddick, no, not Luddite. That's I have the worksheet. I have the workbook here somewhere, but basically it was a workshop. It's just like a quick workshop about animating and storytelling. But I was more interested in the storytelling aspect, and I mean it was interesting. At least it taught me to be more thorough, at least from an animation standpoint. Even though I wasn't really a 3D animator, I still don't know how to 3D animate. So I want to learn one of these days, but I think at this point, I'm basically me learning about it. Like I'm gonna be like that old guy, that the older guys that I saw like back in the day when I was in university. I would see these like some of my classmates were a little bit, they were like dads, or one of them was a grandparent, and it's like, they're kind of. It was like you interacted with them and you had fun, but it's like but you're just a bunch of dumb college kids back in the day. You didn't really like think about responsibility or having a family and such, and now I'm that guy. Here, this symbol's a bit too big. Saying, oh, the claw. Yeah, so me learning about 3D animation would be like, I'll just be like animating boxes and stuff. It was weird because I came around the time, basically like when I was learning about art, it was, and trying to get back into it, it's like, 3D animation is just where it was at. When I was in university, they still had 2D animation available, and I think around that time, like Sinbad and the Seven Seas was still coming out, like when I was doing an internship at a government facility. So this is gonna be kind of weird. Let's do this. Cause it's weird because my pandas are, their noses look like the third nose in the middle looks like an eye. So like I'm gonna try doing this where it's like, maybe this feels less like a nose. Ooh. We are eternally grateful. You have saved our lives. I think the Pixar today is definitely different. There's less of a, there's more voices involved, more cooks in the kitchen. So I don't think the vision feels a little bit more like calculated and a little bit less personal, because it's like, well, you kind of have to make the story feel like it will relate to more audiences. So because of that, things tend to feel a little bit more generic. And I think like they hit a sweet spot early on where they were like the first, they were the first studio to do it. But they were also like hitting a certain type of story where it's like, oh, in a world where this is the bug world, this is the toy world, this is the monster world. So you get all these like different like world building type of stories where it's like, this is me, I'm and this is what we do here in so and so land. But nowadays it feels like, well, they're kind of, that story type is kind of being, at least that structure is starting to feel a little bit worse for wear, because I think you just have to just ignore it and then just go for you just kind of have to ignore it and just try to enjoy the story for what it is. But it certainly is pretty prevalent. It's a little bit too common, I think, in animated films. And you talk to any artist, and I guarantee you most of them will be like, they're always yearning for like more type of a story being told versus like, oh, this, this is me, this is welcome to so and so world. We just want to see this medium really explored to the fullest. Most people, though, wouldn't really care. But to us artists, this is what we think about, and usually a lot of what artists want and what the public wants are sometimes they can be completely different things. All right, so we got the alien. Let's do Buzz, because we gotta do Buzz at least. And let's turn off Woody here. Oh, we got some nose here thing. All right, to infinity and beyond. Okay, so let's do Buzz. Let's do the rough drawing here. Make him a little bit more of a heroic panda. Oh, hello, Keith. Hello, Casey. So I'm gonna move our alien over to there. It's kind of funny because when we were just talking about like how we're working from home, and it's like, usually when my son sees the door closed, he leaves me. He knows that dad's got to work on stuff, but that's only some of the time, not always all the time. He definitely likes to go in here and make trouble for sure. And I love the little guy, so. There's certainly days where it would help to get a break now and then, but that's working from home life. So I'm gonna see if I can jump on on a live stream in a bit. there's another artist that I've done work for, Jason Brubaker, that he's holding live streams right now on his channel. So I just got the invite for that this morning. He's been streaming a little bit longer than before this channel, so I'm gonna try to see if I can hop on after I'm finished with this stream and just chat for a bit, because it's important to network and be connected to the community around you, and plus I like hanging out with Jason. He gets some pretty interesting guys on his channel. Okay, so this is a little bit one of those things where Buzz's body is usually like a dome, and he's kind of like shaped like this. He's got, so he's a little bit different proportion than my panda. So I have to kind of work around that. Obviously here, it's a bigger. It's kind of a bigger form, so I have to kind of like work around that geometry. We're gonna do some tricky math here. So he's got some. I'm going to try to make the belly a little bit smaller. Don't want everything to feel too even. So anyways, I kind of shared my thoughts about just Pixar and so forth, and I might have sounded a little bit like sour grapes there. I don't really want to mean to, but I do think it's important though to, as you're an artist, you're just trying to find your voice, and you're just trying to find, and not just always feel like your identity is just wrapped up in, working for a studio. It's like, part of being an artist is, it's, you're doing it because you want to. I mean, if you're artist versus like say a drafts person, and I distinguish the two. Like drafts person is like if you like to draw and you just don't mind drawing all sorts of things for and doing work for hire. It's completely legitimate. But for those who want to be more be more of a writer or speak about present their ideas to a world, that's kind of a different challenge. It's a different skill set, different goals, and I think there's plenty of people who are just complete, they're satisfied with just being the drafts person, and that's fine. I just think that if you're trying to be an artist and you're trying to get that voice out, then being at a studio is not going to solve that. Or being at a job, it's probably not going to work that out. And so I think it's as you're trying to develop yourself artistically, it's you're trying to figure that out. You're trying to just discover that goal for yourself, whether you're the drafts person or you're the drafts person, or you're the you're the artur, I suppose, is for lack of a better word. For me, I don't want to make myself sound too snooty, but I like the idea of just trying to do stories. So in a way, I guess I am wanting to be more like the voice in the artur, but there's also different ways to go about that too. I mean, you can kind of see also, I think part of being an artist is also learning to be a product developer. Now that sounds like completely different, but it's like really you're trying to, you're producing something. Like if you're just engaging in any kind of business or art, or like you're trying to sell your art and make a living off of it, you know, you are definitely having to engage in certain skills, you know, like commerce and so forth. And so you have to learn, in a way, how to sell your work and how to make it attractive in some ways to other people. You know, how do you make your work? Let's see. So this is a bit tricky because there's so much stuff going on in him that I don't want to cheapen out too much, but we do got to keep the show going here. So hang on with me. It is tricky because it's he has a very bulky like upper body like so, and so I want to make sure I'm doing him justice and being able to. And so it's just tricky when you're dealing with this geometry that you have to kind of just think through the forms. Try not to get too wrapped up. So I'm trying my best to try to at least get this to a point where I'm not too tight, but I'm not too but I'm fairly loose in it. So there's a button right there. Let's see. How do we do this? What am I doing here? So it's okay to be messy. And I say it's okay to be messy because I'm being really messy right now, so I'm saying it's okay to do it. Whoop, what happened there? That was weird. Oh. Had a little artifact just pop up there. Let's just keep this down a little bit. Okay. So sorry if you guys are trying to keep up and trying to draw at the same time as me, but you know, this is an example of me just trying to wrestle through and trying to get a coherent drawing out, because you know, I want to. There's a lot of layers in here, so I don't have to include all of them, but I'm gonna. Try and make them feel soft. Try and make them feel. And then he kind of has like a black. Make this feel a little bit bigger too. Just gonna color this area here. Kind of his like little, he has kind of like a tube section that's a little bit black. This is definitely one of the more advanced pandas I've drawn. Which is probably why I don't draw too many of them. Okay, so then we got kind of a ball here. Let's figure out this model here. I feel like I could just shift that leg over just a little bit like so. It is a little bit off model for my pandas, so we're kind of just going to try to fix that just a little bit. Let's go like that. Sorry if I'm going to take you on a roller coaster here. But this definitely helps me to get a little bit better line, because when I'm doing these, when I'm drawing like this, it's a little bit tricky sometimes to get a smooth straight line as I'm drawing. So that's why I rotate the canvas a lot. It's pretty much similar to when you're you know, you're flipping you rotate your paper, and I highly recommend that. Just don't always feel like you got to keep the paper still. Obviously I try to keep it still sometimes to if I'm recording, so that people don't get too disoriented with it. But so yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kind of cheat here, so we're not, because I want to give more time to the other other characters. So maybe this is, I think I need to move this leg a little bit more this way to kind of improve that silhouette some. Okay, then we got that, got some foreshortening going on here. And I'm just going to give him some wings at the end. Oh, for this whole time I didn't have Buzz on his own layer. Must have hit the merge or something. Okay, let's move him out of the way. Give him his wings. Not flying, it's falling with style. there you have it. There's our Buzz Lightyear. Okay, let's. That took a long time. Let's move out from there. Let's do the spider doll from. Yeah, so the spider Toy Story. So this guy's a little bit creepy, but you know, he looks creepy, but he's also very he has a heart of gold. I think it's called Babyface, if I remember right. So let's get Babyface on here. I think Babyface had like a block like so. He had like an erector base. This might be a little bit easier to draw because you know, it's back then when they were modeling it. I mean, aside from Buzz was like, I don't know, the detail on him is just pretty amazing. Like, let's get the pedestal a little bit higher so that I can get more of a panda head like so. I'll do the stipple here. And part of what I liked about the older Toy Stories is that there was a little bit of darkness in some of them, which I kind of appreciate about these older films. It's like that they were, you know, when you're making these films, they're a little bit riskier. I mean, Toy Story 3, they kind of had the gonna add an eye there. So you can take a little bit of chances, and maybe there isn't really an established brand. You know, there's no, you're not beholden to any fans yet, so you just try out different things, and once you make something, you kind of made something that resonates with a bunch of people, and then like the thing that resonates with those people are the things, you know, what they'll want to come back for. And so, you know, you'll probably, you know, in some ways you're kind of just stuck, or you're kind of confined or limited to at least that, you're giving yourself that limitation, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's just that, you know, you can't really, I think it's a little bit more difficult to want to, you just have to work within those limitations. When you start deviating and trying to, you know, make something super radically different, you're going to get a lot of pushback in general, because say like you're trying to make a, let's see, I gotta do two different types of claws here. I gotta do one that's like, I don't want to get in the way of, let's see here, let's do one like this. Yeah, then there's one like, maybe we can do one like this. It's more little scratches and stuff on her. I'm saying her because it used to be a doll, so dolls are usually, these baby dolls are probably girls' toys. Or could it be a baby boy, I suppose. But yeah, so that was I think if you like try to, on the topic of trying to make things feel like, or trying to work with the limitations, you know, you're trying to, if you invent like a bubble tea, if you invent bubble tea, right, like the limitation is that you gotta work within a drink, you got some kind of chewy boba, and then you know, that's what people want to come for. But if you start making stuff where it's like you just add crackers to it and you're like, this is boba, it's like, nah, it's probably not boba. Like, that doesn't really feel like it. It's become something else entirely. Yeah, so I think maybe I can do something like this to work within the perspective. This is my limitation that I'm working on. Yeah, let's go a little bit faster here. Let's have bolt. I think I could probably make this feel a little bit shorter like that. And then we can just add like these circular holes that were part of the like so. Yeah. Wow, this is taking me a long time just to draw all these guys. Partly because I just want to get them right, but I'm also just like rambling too a little bit with some of the things because I really love just what you know, what Pixar had done over the years, and it's been a big influence for myself. And yeah, let me just go really quick here. Maybe we can just move this along. Let's put a couple legs here. Show some overlap. Got my blobby. Think how their legs are. I think the legs are like this. A couple of 2, 3. Then we could add another leg back here. We don't have to be too detailed with it. Maybe we could just put like another leg back here. Okay. All right, so there's our baby face, and I'm gonna do one more, and then we can just wrap this up. It's kind of been drawing for a little bit, so I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. And let's see here. Let's do Mr. Potato Head, because course, I think I was kind of sad that when Don Rickles passed, it's like, you know, and maybe that's why Toy Story 4 feels a little bit weird, because, you know, they didn't really give him much of a part. They just, you know, recycled lines from the previous movie, so it's, you know, because you look at something like in Toy Story 3, you know, like he had this whole bit with like him and the tortilla, and it was like, you know, it was just to me that was like one of the more creative like aspects of that film, like trying to make this heist movie, and it's like, you know, just coming up with just different types of plot devices to get them through it. He had a great personality, and then it's like, you know, Toy Story comes along, you can't really make it anymore, so it's like, you know, you can't really do much with him anymore, so you just, I think there's ways to work around it though, because like you look at Slinky, for example. Slinky, who was played by I forgot what his name is, Ernest, but you know, he passed away too, and they replaced him. But I think it's a little bit easier to do that when he's a side character, and there's not as many lines to think about. But you know, Mr. Potato Head was a pretty big part of that of the humor, you know. I mean, Ham and Rex, I think, are also pretty hard to replace if that ever happened, but I'm thankful for what we were able to get. Yeah, maybe I can just thicken that up a little bit. My pandas are pretty chubby in general. Of course, we give him the big feet afterwards. Little potato feet. And maybe the whole thing about like just remaking everything is just like, you know, maybe it's just it feels more like an American thing because of, you know, I feel like we're pretty good at making money. We're pretty good at making stuff that people get excited about, but we're definitely pretty good at making hype. Okay, so we're gonna do that. That's pretty much it's funny because like Mr. Potato Head, he's mostly head, but like my potato head is like mostly belly. So yeah, maybe I can make this hat smaller. I think this hat needs to get really small because I was just looking at the reference of Mr. Potato Head and kind of got sidetracked. I'm a married spud. I'm a married spud. I think one of the things about Pixar that's just taught me a lot grow as an artist is also being able to see like the development art and seeing like, you know, some of the ideas that they produce, you know, when it's really rough and everything like that. It's like, well, you know, they're making really rough stuff, and it's like they're just, a lot of it's just like half-baked ideas that they're trying to figure out to produce the final product. And so when I would see some of that, it's like, well, I can kind of draw like that. You know, I can probably get to a certain point that's similar to that level. Obviously, there's a lot of polish after that, but it's like that to me showed me like, oh, I can draw in this certain way, and that allows me. You know, I don't have to draw like super hyper realistic. I just have to communicate. And so I think that's really important to show people that there's not just one way of drawing something. So long as you're able to communicate effectively, then I think that's all that matters. Okay. All right. So there we have it. Our Toy Story pandas. We got Buzz. We got Woody. We got the aliens. I guess I drew these a little bit smaller. Maybe I was zoomed out a lot. So there's our. What we got there? Got a little bit of artifact. But thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out. This is story time. I keep saying story time. Scribble time with Panda, and I hope you guys enjoyed your time. If you guys liked the video, please like and subscribe. Also, you know, you can check out these color sheets. They're downloadable at punchingpandas.com/scribbletime. There's a link in the description below. And if you guys would be so helpful, please share this. I do this for free. It's my way of like providing a way for everyone at home to engage with art and to, you know, just talk and just sketch and just have fun. So feel free to just message me or comment in the video below if you'd like to see more topics or you'd like to see something different. And I'll look forward to talking to you guys more and doing more drawing. So one last thing. Tomorrow is Friday, so normally on Fridays I would like to do Fan Friday. If you guys have drawings that you guys would like to have me remix as a panda, message me through Instagram at punching.pandas or Facebook at facebook.com/punchingpanda. Links are at the end card at the end of this video, which I'll show, and I can bring them onto the show and just remix them. But please, if you have any, if we get enough drawings, then we can do usually I need about like 4 or 5 drawings to be submitted. So if we're able to get enough by tonight, then maybe we can do Fan Friday tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll just do another type of topic. So anyways, you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time here on Scribble Time. See ya. Bye.